If you're ever in Rome and you want to see the physical receipts of this nightmare, you can visit the Chronological Museum.
What the fuck was that? Criminological. Come on, kid.
Welcome back to Hot Mess Murder Club, the show where we dig through the worst people in history so you don't have to do it alone at 2 a.m. with a stress rash and a search history that puts you on at least 3 government watch lists. I am Kat, and with me as always is Holly, who tonight is helping me unpack a story that is, quite literally, the reason I only buy liquid body wash now. We're talking about the ultimate live, laugh, liquefy mom. Holly, how are ya?
I'm fucking fantastic, Kat.
Mm-hmm.
I'm glad. I'm happy to be here. I'm glad that we get to talk about body wash. It's my favorite thing ever. I like soap. So nothing says I'm a protective mother like running a human to hygiene pipeline out of your kitchen and feeding your neighbors friendship biscuits made of literal people. This is exciting.
Sounds delicious.
Yeah. Oh, it's amazing.
Well, today we are doing the definitive deep dive into Leonarda Cianciulli. In the late 1930s, she murdered 3 women, turned them into soap and tea cakes, and then had the audacity to act like she was doing a civic duty. So grab your coffee and please, for the love of God, make sure you know who baked those muffins. And I kind of want to say this right off the rip. So there are a lot of different accounts of how this story actually went down. It's kind of hard to weed out some of the actual facts from like the stretched truths and folklore of this entire case. So that being said, we did the best research that we could for this episode, but we're going to put a very big for entertainment purposes only on this episode. However, the main aspect of what happened here has never wavered. So, I mean, to be real, that's why you're all here anyway, is for all that gross shit. So with that aside, let's go ahead and get into it. And today we are traveling back in time all the way to Italy. Are you ready, Holly?
Yeah, I want to go to the Leaning Tower of Pisa.
The Leaning Tower of Pisa with a pizza?
No, I like emos.
I kind of like emos too. People always dog on emos, but it's actually really good.
Yeah, if you don't live in the St. Louis area, you don't know what Emos is, but Emos has an option to see. I'm making a commercial for the Emos Pizza now. They have an option. You can actually order it online and they will overnight it or same day ship it and deliver it to your house, or they'll deliver it frozen and you could just bake it. It is by far the best frozen pizza and fresh baked pizza as well. Just try it.
Did you hear that, Emos? Sponsor us. Give me that cardboard crust, bitch.
Just give me some pizza. I don't even need money. I just want the pizza. $25 a pizza is rough.
Did you hear that, Emos? Sponsor us. All right, so let's get into the once upon a time portion of this nightmare, though it's a little less Disney and more American horror story. So Leonarda Cianciulli was born in Montella, Italy in 1894. And if you believe her version of events, she was basically born under a literal storm cloud. The official, quote-unquote, backstory, the one you'll see in every true crime deep dive, is a relentless parade of misery. We're talking born from a rape, a mother who looked at her like she was a biological error, multiple suicide attempts as a kid, and a childhood marinated in a spicy stew of rejection, superstition, and enough emotional violence to fuel a decade of therapy. It's the ultimate tragic backstory. But here's the kicker. Most of that comes from Leonarda's own memoir, Confessions of an Embittered Soul. And scholars look at that 700-page manifesto the same way I look at a 3-day detox tea, with massive amounts of skepticism. Was it a genuine look at her trauma, or was it ghost-written insanity theater designed to keep her out of a regular prison and in a cozy asylum? However, we do have some cold hard facts. In 1917, Leonarda married a registry clerk named Raphael Pansardi. Her mother was livid because she wanted Leonarda to marry a wealthy cousin. Classic 1900s Italian drama. Leonarda claimed her mother laid a blood curse on the marriage right then and there.
Then came the pregnancies. Depending on which source you're reading, the number of pregnancies changed so much, it's a total red flag. She was pregnant roughly 17 times.
Damn.
17. That is insane.
Fuck that.
I've been pregnant twice and it was not fun. Like, she had 3 miscarriages, then 10 children who died in their cribs. So only 4 survived. Out of 17, you only managed to let 4 of them live beyond the crib years.
That's sketchy.
Yeah. That level of grief didn't just like break her. It became her entire personality. It was the organizing obsession of her life. But before we get to poor little cursed mama, let's look at her LinkedIn for Criminals profile. This woman was a hustler. Like in 1927, she was convicted of fraud. Italian record shows that she had a history of theft and making threats long before she ever touched a vat of caustic soda.
Now, hold on a second. Let's recap that for a minute, starting with the fact that her mom wanted her to marry her own fucking cousin. What is this?
I mean,
this is already bad.
What is the name of that? It's a show. A lot of people watch it, but it's
Live,
got
Laugh,
like
Love.
a lot of no, the incest stuff. What is that? And it's got like winter is coming, like that shit. What is that?
Hills Have Eyes.
No. You're so far off. It's a stupid show. It was a book series. I don't know what it's fucking called. My mom and my sister both like it.
Twilight.
Fucking killing me, dude. You know what I'm talking about, right?
I don't. That's why I'm saying these things.
Oh, Game of Thrones.
I've never seen it.
I haven't either. I haven't watched it. I watched about 5 minutes of an episode and it made me uncomfortable.
That's more than what I've watched.
So it's weird. In the 1930s, I don't want to say that was normal, but I wasn't alive then. So,
well, I mean, it said in 1930s Italy, like that's some kind of normal thing that was going on over there. Like, hey, marry your cousin and then have a bunch of weird ancestral kids. I don't know. That's fucking weird to me. And then,
well, to be fair, in the United States, there are some states where people do that here now. I mean, I'm not saying it's okay because it's fucking gross if you ask me. Sorry, I don't care about your lifestyle or anything, but you shouldn't be banging out your cousin or your brother or anybody that you share blood with, period.
I don't think that these people's moms are like encouraging it and being mad that you picked somebody other than your cousin, though.
Yeah, it's weird.
I don't know. I don't live in Arkansas. I don't know how things work down there.
They do it in more than Arkansas, don't they? They do it all over. It's like Arkansas.
It's really south.
Isn't it? Yeah, I was going to say it's like Kentucky, Arkansas, Alabama.
Alabama.
It's all those southern states. Yeah.
Anyways.
17 kids.
Yeah.
17 babies. That's insane.
Well, no, 17 pregnancies.
Okay. 14 or 15.
No, she had 10 births. Wait, no, 10 of them died.
This bitch is a hot mess. 17 pregnancies, 3 miscarriages. So it's 14 children left, 10 that died in their cribs and 4 that had survived.
Those 10 that died, though, I want proof that was a natural death.
How do you lose 10 babies after birth? While still living in the crib, unless
murder
is not being done. Yeah. All right, let's continue.
Yeah. So the cursed victim narrative is a good coat of paint, but underneath it, she was a career con artist. After she got out of prison, an earthquake in 1930 leveled her house in Lacedonia, and the family moved to Correggio. This is where the monster really finds her footing. She opens a small shop and rebrands herself as the kindly neighborhood woman. She's reading fortunes, she's handing out snacks, she's being everyone's favorite wise auntie. And honestly, nothing says great cover for a boutique homicide operation like being the sweet lady on the corner who knows everyone's secrets and has a fresh batch of cookies ready to go. I'd go there. I'd fucking go there. You would too.
No.
You wouldn't go there to get your fortune told and eat fucking snacks with a cute old lady?
I mean, you and I have done the fortune telling palm reading thing. We've done that.
Huh?
That was fun. We would do it. Yeah, I would go.
Yeah.
You're right. I'd
If we
go.
were in Italy and we saw Leonarda Cianciulli's bullshittery shop, I'd go.
I'd be intrigued. I would go.
Mhm.
So, whatever. I don't know if I would eat snacks that were not pre-packaged.
I would. I have no problem doing that. I do it at funerals all the time.
At funerals? That's when
Yeah.
you get your best snacks?
Have you ever had funeral snacks? They're fucking good.
You're so fucked up.
Some people really know how to throw a great funeral party, and I'm for it.
You know what? I'm taking notes.
You should.
I will.
I want coffin-shaped sugar cookies.
Okay. I don't have no icing though, right?
No, and
No.
then little Ouija board ones too.
Yeah, you told me about those, so I'm on board. I got you covered. I know a guy.
Okay. Anyways, go ahead.
So it's the wolf in grandma's clothing strategy. If you're busy eating her snacks and hearing about your future, you're probably not looking too closely at why the soap in her kitchen smells like your missing neighbor.
I don't know why you would know what your neighbor smells like that bad, but you know.
Sniff your neighbors? Because
listen, when I wrote this all sounded really clever. Okay, fuck you. It's a good story.
I mean, do you sniff the neighbors?
No.
Okay.
I don't.
This implies that you do.
No, this implies that people in 1930s Italy did. So,
Okay.
to understand how Leonarda managed to run a literal human-to-hygiene factory without the neighbors calling the I don't know how to say
Carabinieri? Carabinieri?
Yeah, every 5 minutes.
Yeah.
Yeah, every 5 minutes. You have to picture Italy in the late 1930s. It was a chaotic, high-anxiety fever dream. World War II was looming like a toxic X. Bureaucracies were clunkier than a 1980s printer, and communities were tight, like too tight. We're talking about a society built on a foundation of gossip, superstition, rigid patriarchy, and Catholic morality, all pressed together under the thumb of fascist social pressure. And here's the thing. Leonarda wasn't some hermit hiding in a cave. She was a respected mother and a fervent fascist. She wasn't an outcast. She was the neighborhood's MVP. She learned exactly how to weaponize the good Italian mother trope to hide the fact that she was basically a meat grinder in an apron.
She also went full occult hobbyist. She steeped herself in palmistry astrology and curse-breaking rituals, which is basically 1930s Pinterest for people who think their bad luck is a literal hex from their mother-in-law. The internet loves the story of the traveling fortune teller who looked at Leonardo's palms and said, "You'll have kids, they'll all die, and you'll end up in prison in one hand and an asylum in the other." Now, did that actually happen? Or did Leonardo just have a really creative imagination when she was writing her 700-page get out of jail free card later? It's hard to say, but one thing is ironclad. Leonardo believed in blood logic. She believed in a world where you could trade a soul for a favor, and she was ready to start swiping her card.
And then came 1939. World War II officially kicks off, and Giuseppe, her golden child, her favorite, the one she probably still cuts the crusts off his sandwiches for, faces military service. For Leonarda, this wasn't just a draft notice, it was a death sentence. By her account, this was the breaking point. She convinced herself that the only way to shield Giuseppe from Allied bullets was to offer the universe a life for life, like some cosmic human sacrifice BOGO deal.
Well, of course, the prosecution at her trial was like, "Sweetie, you didn't do this for the universe. You did it for the 30,000 lire and the jewelry."
Right, and we'll get to that in a minute. But honestly, the record suggests it was both. It was magical thinking and cold, hard financial optimism braided together in one filthy, blood-soaked rope. She wasn't just crazy. She was a crazy person with a very high return on investment. So let's get into these victims and what exactly this sweet old Italian mama did to them.
So, enter victim number 1, Faustina Setti, or Melinda Faustina Setti, if you're feeling formal. Faustina was a perfect target for a predator like Leonarda. She was older, she was solitary, and she was semi-literate. She was also very lonely. Leonardo didn't just stalk her, she targeted her through her deepest longings. She told Faustina, "Girl, I've done it. I found your husband in Pola." Apparently, this mystery man was rich, single, and just waiting for a woman with Faustina's distinguished vintage flair. But, of course, there was a catch. Leonardo told her to tell no one. Not the neighbors, not the family, nobody. Because nothing says stable, healthy relationship like keeping your engagement a secret on the advice of your local fortune-telling fraud lady.
Yep. I mean, I would absolutely just not tell a goddamn soul that I'm meeting some rando who thinks I have vintage flair.
I mean, I feel like you would still tell me. You would just be like, don't tell anybody.
I would. And that's, unfortunately for Leonarda, what happened much later. So in January 1939, Faustina showed up at Leonarda's house for final instructions before her big move. But instead of packing tips, Leonarda had her sit down and write a stack of postcards to be mailed later, basically gaslighting her own family from the future by saying she'd arrived safely. And then came the paperwork. Leonarda had her sign over the rights to manage her affairs. This wasn't just a heat-of-the-moment killing. This was a preloaded administrative theft with a side of emotional exploitation. Once the signatures were dry, Leonarda casually grabbed an axe, and then she killed Faustina, dragged her into a closet, and, with the precision of a butcher, cut her into 9 distinct parts, draining the blood into a basin like she was prepping for Sunday dinner. In her confession, Leonarda described throwing the Faustina bits into a giant pot with 7 kilos of caustic soda. She stirred that mixture until the human remains dissolved into a thick, dark, soapy sludge. But she didn't waste the blood. Oh no, she let it coagulate, dried it in the oven, ground it into a fine powder, and mixed it with flour, sugar, chocolate, and margarine to make crunchy tea cakes. She served them to the ladies who came over to gossip about where Faustina went. She even admitted that she and her son Giuseppe ate them. Imagine sitting there, sipping espresso and crunching on a biscuit that used to be the lady from 3 Doors Down. Not the band, but her house.
Cute. So financially, Faustina was a gold mine. Leonardo walked away with 30,000 lire, which was a massive haul back then. While the crazy mama narrative makes for a good headline, Italian researchers pushed back hard on that. Leonardo had a rap sheet for theft and frog.
Fucking ribbit. Give me your cash.
Fucking ribbit. Leonardo had a rap sheet for theft and fraud long before this. She wasn't just protecting her son with magic. She was running a high-profit liquidation business where the inventory was her friends.
Ew.
Yeah. Faustina wasn't picked because of a vision. She was picked because she was easy to isolate. Leonardo didn't just kill her. She built a fake exit ramp for her entire life, complete with letters and legal cover. That's not a snap. That's predatory planning wearing a flour-dusted apron.
I wonder how those tasted, though. I mean, I'm not going to go and try and find one and eat it. I don't want to eat people.
I imagine pennies. Because blood tastes like pennies. So I feel like it would taste penny-ish.
You think it tastes like pennies?
Blood tastes like pennies, yeah.
Yeah, but it's mixed with chocolate, and she didn't pour the blood into the mixture. She mixed it in with flour and caustic salt and chocolate and good fluffy shit, and then baked it.
Do you think that the blood still wouldn't taste like blood? Obviously it's mixed in with other ingredients, but I feel like there would be a hint of penny behind it.
I don't know. We're going to have to look and see if the caustic salt made it not taste like iron.
Go for it.
I will.
Google machine.
All right, I will.
I'll just wait here.
Yeah. Well, where else are you going to fucking go?
A few moments later.
Crocs. So mixing blood with a caustic salt will make it taste different, primarily by intensifying the salty flavor and introducing potentially bitter or soapy notes.
Oh.
So she made biscuits that tasted kind of like soap. So I would not eat those at all.
Someday somebody's going to look at your search history and you're going to be so fucked.
I've said this before.
I know.
I'm going to jail for fucking because of you. So next up on Leonarda's to-do list was Francesca Clementina Sovi. I butchered that. Most English summaries just call her Francesca, so I'm going to do that too. But let's give her some respect. She was a kindergarten teacher. You know, the kind of person who spends their life helping kids only to end up in the crosshairs of a woman who treated people like ingredients. Leonarda used the exact same fortune fake bait. She told Francesca, "Hey, babe, I've got the hookup. There's a prestigious job at a girls' school in Piacenza." It was the same formula because, honestly, if your murder scheme is converting at 100%, why the fuck would you change it?
Exactly. Francesca fell for the same administrative gaslighting as Faustina. She was persuaded to write letters to her family ahead of time so that when she vanished, it looked like she just moved on to bigger and better things. On September 5th, 1939, Francesca showed up for her departure. Some versions of the story mention drugged wine because apparently Leonardo liked to keep things classy before the axe came out. But the result was the same. Axe, dismemberment, caustic soda, and a complete erasure of human life.
And here's where it gets even slimier. Italian sources reveal that Francesca had granted Leonarda legal authority over her property before she disappeared. So Leonarda didn't just kill her, she moved into her life. She sold off Francesca's belongings and pocketed that cash. There's also the Giuseppe factor. Records show that Leonarda's son, Giuseppe, actually went to Piacenza to mail those fake letters. It makes the whole thing feel less like a haunted mother sacrifice and more like a family-run fraud machine with a high body count. Now, to be fair, the records are messy on whether Giuseppe knew he was mailing a dead woman's mail or if he just thought his mom was a really weird travel agent. But his fingerprints are all over the staging.
So this is the part that kills me. The myth tries to make the motive all mystical and tragic. I did it for my son's soul, but the mechanics are just greedy and mean. She keeps selecting women who are looking for a better future and then converts that hope into cold, hard cash in a body disposal problem that she decided to solve like an extremely cursed homemaking project.
And she wasn't just breaking a curse, she was liquidating her social circle. It's predatory, it's calculated, and it is a total shit show.
Can you imagine just like what kind of a fucked up human do you have to be just to eliminate all of your friends just because I want a couple bucks? Like, I love my kids, but I'm not going to murder off all of my friends.
I feel like I'd be a really tart biscuit.
So what I'm hearing is if I have to make a soul sacrifice for my child, I could take you and I will report back to everybody else whether or not you were tart.
No, you don't want to serve tart biscuits. I'm saying don't use me because nobody wants a tart biscuit.
You wouldn't be a biscuit. You would absolutely end up, I don't know, maybe like a cookie or a cupcake.
A cookie?
A cupcake. You'd be a cupcake.
I want to be a croissant.
I'd probably I'm not that fancy. I'd probably throw you in some brownie mix. Like that little Debbie brownie mix.
But make it like
put walnuts in there.
Stop it. You are not going to put walnuts in cat brownies. Absolutely fucking not. I'm not going to be the tart brownie that chips a fucking tooth. No fucking way.
I was going to use that by having the walnuts and the brownies. If there's a little chunk of you.
What are my teeth? What the fuck? You're supposed to grind me down and shit. God, yeah, you're lazy.
No, throw you in the Ninja, like the Ninja blender. And
a food processor?
Yeah.
We're going to move on to victim number 3, because apparently I'll be number 4, and I'll be a fucking walnut and tooth tart brownie. Jesus.
Brownies are delicious. That should have been a compliment, really.
No, it was until you started putting walnuts in it.
Okay, no walnuts, but I want to throw some powdered sugar across the top.
Fair.
Okay.
All right, and chocolate chips.
And chocolate chips, okay.
Yeah, and 2 eggs to make them fluffier.
That make them fudgier.
I guess I don't really have a say. I am the brownie.
Either way, you're going to be tart.
That's true. I'm going to be a tart-ass fucking chocolate piece of shit. That's what I'm going to be.
You're going to ruin my fucking brownies, you dumb bitch.
I hope I do. So now we're going to reach the grand finale. The opening night that turned into a closing ceremony. Victim number 3 was Virginia Cassiopo. And she is the reason Leonarda isn't just a footnote in a dusty Italian police file. Virginia was a widow and a former soprano. We're not talking about someone who just sang in the shower. English sources claim that she sang at La Scala. Other records show she debuted in Carmen in 1904 and toured the world singing Verdi and Puccini. The point is, Virginia had main character energy. She had a social footprint. She had fans. She had people who actually noticed when she stopped making noise. She wasn't just another disposable lonely heart. She was a celebrity in her own right.
Leonarda knew she couldn't bait a world-class diva with a boring marriage or a teaching gig. She tailored the bait to Virginia's vanity, a secret job in Florence as a secretary to a mysterious theatrical impresario. Basically, she promised her a comeback tour. And of course, the golden rule. Don't tell a soul, Virginia. We wouldn't want the paparazzi or the jealous neighbors ruining your big break. But Virginia actually had a brain, and she told her sister-in-law, Albertina, exactly where she was going. And that single breadcrumb of common sense is the only reason that the cops ended up at Leonarda's doorstep in the first place.
Good for her. Good for her for not being able to keep a fucking secret.
That's you.
Hi. That's why I'm not dead yet. I'm not no fucking tray of brownies yet. I tell people everything. So Virginia visited the House of Horrors on September 30th, 1940. Leonarda drugged her, grabbed an axe, and, well, she really refined her process this time. In a quote that belongs in a cursed Hallmark card, Leonarda told investigators that Virginia was her best work because, and I quote, her flesh was fat and white. That's how people describe me.
First of all, you're skinny, so shut the fuck up. You need to eat a goddamn cheeseburger. No, you shut up.
Goddamn cheeseburger. Stupid. I'm sick.
Yeah, you are. We're all in agreement of that. You are sick.
I eat a lot. Like, I seriously eat a lot, but I have a bunk liver. I don't just gain a whole shit ton of weight.
Yeah, well, eat another fucking cheeseburger.
I would love to.
I wish you would.
Not from your fucking kitchen, putting walnuts in everything.
I don't put walnuts in anything except for brownies every once in a while.
Gross.
Sometimes
keep going.
It's nice.
Gross, keep going.
Okay.
Walnuts are gross.
You're gross. Just so you know. You're gross.
Mean. That's uncalled for.
You have cooties. She's literally grading the quality of the marbleizing like she's at a high-end butcher shop.
Yeah, and it gets so much worse. Leonarda was feeling fancy. So she added a bottle of expensive cologne to the vat while Virginia was dissolving in the caustic soda. She told the court she produced a most acceptable creamy soap. Why am I giving her an English accent? She's Italian.
She's Italian.
Yeah. Well, listeners, you guys can switch that up in your heads. I'm not doing it. That she distributed to her friends and neighbors. So imagine washing your face with a former soprano and thinking, my skin has never felt so melodic. And the tea cakes? Leonarda's review of the Virginia batch was peak unhinged horror. She literally told the police the cakes too were better. That woman was really sweet. So she wasn't just killing people. She was a 5-star Michelin reviewer for her own cannibalism. She was basically reviewing her victims like they were items on a charcuterie board.
I believe it's called charcuterie.
Like they were items on a charcuterie board.
From Virginia, Leonarda cleared 50,000 lire plus a literal hoard of jewels, diamonds, rubies, and public bonds. This wasn't a sacrifice to the gods. This was a high-end heist. Virginia was the biggest payout, but she was also the biggest mistake. Leonarda was so busy admiring her creamy soap that she forgot that divas don't just vanish. They leave a trail of glitter and very angry relatives. I would leave a trail of glitter.
Yeah.
I'm not a diva, but I would leave glitter.
Okay. Cute.
Fuck you, cat.
See, it hurts. It hurts when you do that to people.
I'm sorry. At least I apologize.
I'm not going to do that. So Leonarda managed to keep the first two disappearances from blowing up into a full-scale scandal, which honestly says something pretty grim about how society viewed older single women in the 1940s. They were basically the invisible population. You vanish and the world just shrugs and assumes you moved to the coast or joined a convent. But Virginia had people who actually checked on their elderly family members. Her sister-in-law, Albertina Fenty, was the MVP of this investigation. She wasn't buying this secret job in Florence story for one fucking second, mainly because she'd seen Virginia walk into Leonarda's house and then never walk out. Albertina took those receipts straight to the authorities in Reggio Emilia, and Commissioner Serrao, I think it's Serrao, it looks like Serrao, I could be wrong, I'm butchering it, I don't care, who I imagine was very tired of Leonarda's kindly shopkeeper routine, and opened a formal investigation.
So at first, Leonarda was as evasive as possible. She tried to throw a guy named Spinarelli under the bus, claiming he was the one who actually dealt with Virginia. But the police started following the money and the literal blood trail. Italian sources mention that they found dentures, traces of blood, and a government bond that belonged to Virginia. Leonarda had tried to cash it through a local middleman, which is basically 1940s version of getting caught on a Ring camera. But she didn't fully crack until the cops started looking at her son, Giuseppe. The second they suggested her golden boy might be an accomplice, Leonarda folded. She confessed to every gruesome detail just to keep him out of a cell.
So this is where the legend of the monster really takes flight. There's a grotesque line attributed to her during questioning where she supposedly looked the investigator in the eye and said, "I ate my friends." Now, is that a cold, hard fact or just peak true crime lore? It's in the tradition, but I'd take it with a grain of salt and maybe a side of caution. The same goes for the story that they secretly took her to a morgue during the trial to see if a woman of her age could actually chop up a body. The legend says she dismembered a corpse in 12 minutes flat, just to prove she was a solo artist. It sounds like one of those trial stories that grows teeth and claws over time, but given how unhinged she was, I wouldn't bet against her.
That's crazy. Like, let's just go test it out. Let's go to the morgue and this guy's dead already. Go ahead and chop him up. Like that person didn't have a family that was going to put that person to rest. That's fucked up. Like, fuck you, Italy.
the whole, just all of Italy.
Fuck you, Italy in 1940.
There you go. That'll work. Do you think she could do it? Do you think she could chop up a body at her age in 12 minutes flat?
I don't think, it doesn't really say what her age is, but I guess if she was born in 1894 or something, and we're at 1940, that would make her roughly 40, 50, about 50, almost 50 years old.
Yeah. Years old? I would assume she's probably mid to late 50s, maybe. I don't know. By the time the trial, it doesn't really say that.
I mean, do you feel like you could do it at your age?
I can't honestly say because I don't know what all really that would entail. I don't know how much effort that takes. I've never chopped up a body, so I don't want to make an assessment without having.
I haven't either. I'm saying like with an axe. Like think about an axe. It's used to chop up wood. So if you have like a tree trunk, and people are using that and they can easily chop up a tree, I feel like it probably wouldn't take too long to chop off like an arm or a leg.
I think if you were just going to do it like without any kind of precision or really aiming, absolutely. But if you're trying to do it like the precision of a butcher, like it said that she did, I don't know.
Yeah.
Especially somebody at her age doing it so precisely, I don't know. If you were just going to take some wax at it, sure.
Yeah, I wouldn't be able to do it precisely. I would just be swinging just to swing.
Yeah. Yeah.
Then the third woman has a relative with a backbone and a grudge, and suddenly the local beloved oddball shopkeeper starts looking a lot less like a quirky grandma and a lot more like a cannibalistic bookkeeper with a very specific skincare line.
Right. And then the trial opened in Reggio Emilia on June 12th, 1946. And by this point, the war was over. Italy was trying to find its soul again. And then they were forced to stare directly into this rancid absurdity. It was a total circus. The prosecution kept it simple, though. They argued greed. They looked at the bonds, the jewels, and the 50,000 lire and said, this isn't a sacrifice. It's a heist with a body count. But Leonarda, she went full operatic. She insisted the murders were sacred rituals to protect her kids, claiming her dead mother was sliding into her dreams demanding blood. It was a courtroom showdown between plain old motive and magical self-mythologizing.
The way you said it. You could hear the downy coming out in you while you tried to say that word.
That was a big one.
Mythologizing.
Like my batteries were dying. So apparently, being a serial killer wasn't enough. She had to be a martyr, too.
And we have to talk about the psychiatrist, Filippo Saporito. Oh, that's a fun name.
That is fun.
He was the director of the criminal asylum at Adversa. He spent months reading her memoir, all 748 pages of it. Imagine having that on your Kindle.
No.
Like, there's still a huge debate over whether Leonarda actually wrote that confession herself. Scholars are basically like, ma'am, you have a primary school education. How did you write a polished psychological thriller in 10 months? Many think it was ghostwritten or heavily edited by her defense team, who lean into the insanity theater strategy.
I can see that.
I mean, if she's illiterate, then yeah, she's not capable.
Now, see, I'd read it if she was illiterate. That'd be fun.
It would hurt my head. It's like watching people on Facebook or something who don't know how to use proper grammar.
God.
Or they don't spell correctly. It drives me crazy.
You know what gets me, though?
It's
the little mistakes, which I don't think for some people is like a mistake to them. And I don't know why
like
it bothers me so much. No. Well, yeah, that does bother me. But it's also I have this for sell instead of for sale. I fucking hate that so much.
Yeah, it drives me crazy.
I can't do it. I can't handle it. But so her attorney Saporito eventually slapped her with a diagnosis of insanity rooted in hysteria. But you have to remember, this was the era of Lombrosian junk science. They were still looking at the shape of people's skulls to see if they were born criminals. We should look at those theories the same way we look at lead wallpaper and bloodletting, as historical proof that humans will confidently believe complete nonsense if you give it a fancy Latin name. The jury didn't fully buy the crazy act, though. They found her partially insane, which is the legal version of you're nuts, but you still knew that axe would kill her. She was reportedly eerily composed at the trial. Like, she wasn't cowering in the corner, and she wasn't sitting there correcting the prosecutor on the specific details of how she disposed of the remains. She was basically the lead editor in her own murder trial.
And then there's the patriotic flex. She bragged to the court that she had donated the copper ladle, the one that she used to skim the fat off of her neighbors, to the Gold for the Fatherland campaign to help the war efforts.
Thanks.
It is such a psychotic little flourish that you'd think that it was a movie script. It's just sitting right there in the 1946 Time magazine coverage. On July 20th, 1946, the gavel finally came down. She was hit with 30 years in prison and 3 years in a criminal asylum, hitting that two palms prophecy right on the money. There's a weird legal wrinkle where the sentence was briefly dropped to 24 years because of a semi-insanity plea, but then bumped back up to 30 because, well, she did do it 3 times.
Yeah, I think the whole 3 times thing probably should have made a difference here.
That's what got her. It just sucks, though. Like, can you imagine being a family member of one of the other 2 victims? So she gets 30 years, but it gets dropped to 24 because of this third woman. Because she's famous and people know her, that drew attention. And then but she got her 30-year sentence dropped to 24. And then they bumped it back up to 30 because they found out about the other two. So that means that she only got 3 years apiece for the other two victims. Like, is that fair? Is that fair?
I don't think it's fair at all.
That's fucked up.
Imagine how that family felt after they received those postcards saying that whoever their family member got to where they were going safely, their secret location, just to come out and be like, oh, she's a pastry.
Can you imagine finding this out in the news or whatever later and knowing that you ate one of the cupcakes or tea cakes and being like, fuck.
And liked it?
Yeah. It's like you wouldn't even want to admit it.
I wouldn't. I certainly would not. But after the trial, Leonarda was finally sent away to live out the prophecy she'd been obsessing over for years. She ended up in the Women's Criminal Asylum in Pazzuli, which, fun fact, is built inside an old fortress. Very on brand for a woman whose brain was a fortified bunker of bad vibes and caustic soda. So she hung on for quite a while, finally kicking the bucket on October 15th in 1970 from a stroke. Yikes. Or she called it something fancy like a cerebral apoplexy. I cannot say that. But she said apoplexy.
Yes.
Yeah, she called it that if you want to sound as dramatic as her 700-page memoir. Now, if you look her up, you're going to see a bunch of different ages for her death because historical crime researchers treat dates like they're decorative stickers. But the bottom line is the soap maker finally ran out of bubbles.
That's cute.
Isn't it?
Mm-hmm. And the end of her story was just as bleak as the beginning. An Italian account says she was buried in a pauper's grave, and because literally no one wanted to claim the remains of a lady who turned her friends into laundry detergent, she was eventually moved into a common ossuary. Basically, she's now just a random bone in a pile of other random bones. But here's one of the most random details of the entire saga. A nun from the asylum later reported that Leonarda never stopped baking. She spent her prison days making sweets and pastries, but, and this is the part where humanity actually shows a glimmer of intelligence, none of the other inmates or the guards would touch them. They all believed the cookies were magical or, contained the previous cellmate.
Honestly, that is the single smartest decision made by anyone in this entire long dumpster fire of a story. No thanks, Leonarda. I'm not eating your human fucking cookies. If you're ever in Rome and you want to see the actual physical receipts of this nightmare, you can visit the Chronological Museum. They've got the actual pot, the meat cleaver, and the stone she used to crush the bones on display. Because apparently history isn't just a teacher, it's a landfill with fancy display lighting. It's the literal museum of what the hell, Italy, and standing right there in the middle of it is the legacy of a woman who thought the best way to keep her son out of the army was to turn the neighbor into a bar of Dove. I mean, think about it. That's the only reason she was really doing all of this was to keep Giuseppe from going into the army.
Through this whole story, they said 4 children lived. She had 17, 4 of them lived. Who are the other 3?
Well, they were not as important, apparently, as old Giuseppe.
He was the golden boy.
Yeah. I mean, I can find out. Do we give a shit?
I mean, just a little curious, but no, we don't really care.
Okay.
A few moments later.
Okay. So, Leonarda Cianciulli, known for soap making, had 4 surviving children, Giuseppe, Bernardo, Biagio, and Alta. Out of 17 pregnancies, whom she was fiercely protective of due to a fortune teller's prophecy, blah, blah, blah. While her eldest son, Giuseppe, was involved in her crimes, the other 3 children are not heavily detailed in public records regarding their later lives, having been kept from the murders. So nobody fucking cares about them.
Okay. Cool story.
Thank you. All right, so let's peel back the Gothic wallpaper and look at the actual mold underneath. This is the part where we separate the witchy aesthetic branding from the actual rancid ugliness of this case. Leonarda Cianciulli is usually packaged for the internet as this tragic, hagcore, mother-driven to madness by grief and a creepy prophecy. And look, that version of the story is sticky, it's dramatic, and it gives everybody a side of folklore with their homicide. But if you look at the actual receipts, the stronger material makes it clear that Leonarda wasn't just some lost soul in a trance. She had a documented rap sheet for fraud, a predatory knack for sniffing out vulnerable women, and a material gain pattern that is impossible to ignore unless you're literally trying not to see it.
The forensic files and the psychiatric deep dives point to a woman who managed to do the impossible. She believed in her own blood rituals while simultaneously running a calculated, high-profit scam. This wasn't a superstitious episode. This was organized exploitation with a splash of caustic soda. She didn't just stumble into these murders. She handpicked women who were isolated. She weaponized their deepest hopes, marriage, a better job, and a new life against them. She controlled their mail, she staged their exits from society, and she gained full access to their bank accounts and jewelry before they were ever even cold. She was a disposal expert who destroyed evidence in a methodical, business-like way. And then, this is the genius part, she wrapped the whole thing in a maternal sacrifice narrative that was so lurid it basically dared future generations to turn her into a legend.
Exactly. It's way easier to talk about a soap maker witch than it is to sit with the boring, ugly truth that some people are both delusional and calculating at the same time. People want her to be just one thing: the mad mother, the evil sorceress, the poor traumatized victim, or the monster. But the historical record just keeps coughing up all of them at once. She was superstitious? Yeah. Traumatized? Probably. Manipulative? Absolutely. Greedy? Without a fucking doubt. And she was cruel enough to look at another woman's loneliness and see nothing but inventory for her next batch of soap.
She wasn't just making skincare, Kat. She was liquidating lives for a lifestyle upgrade. And that is the messiest truth of them all.
It absolutely is. And that's it, you guys. That's the whole damn case. We did it!
Yay!
Yay! That was kind of a fun one.
It was hard to read.
Yes, I mean, I think that was a fun case, to be honest with you. I mean, some of the names and shit were hard to read, but I think we powered through. I think people got the fucking point, and that's what matters.
Yes. I don't know what you want me to say.
You don't have to say much, Holly, because it's about time for you to sit and listen. Sit and listen to what you say. Sit and listen to why this case is a hot mess. All right, here we go. We're dancing again. It's just me, though. Never you. That's okay. Let's go. So, Holly, this case is such a legendary what-the-fuckish disaster. And let's be real, this logic is as slippery as a bar of human fat soap. Here's the 3-point breakdown. So, reason number 1. She turned grief into a pyramid scheme. This wasn't a snap. This was a full-service boutique of horror. We're talking about emotional grooming, imaginary boyfriends, forged letters, and industrial-grade body disposal, all happening in the same room where she probably folded her son's laundry. Reason number 2. The motive is a cursed lasagna of greed and magic. She claimed blood sacrifice for her son, but the evidence screams financial opportunism. Both can be true, which is somehow worse. She was a religious fanatic and a cold-blooded bookkeeper at the same time. Reason number 3. The monster myth swallowed the victims whole. The soap, the cakes, and the 700-plus page memoir are so loud they mute the actual tragedy. We're so busy grossed out by the diva soap that we forget Faustina, Francesca, and Virginia were robbed and butchered just because they dared to hope for a better life. What the fuck you think about that, Holly?
This case is the ultimate hot mess because Leonarda figured out the filthiest trick in the book: how to make herself unforgettable while making her victims easier to forget. The legend is so grotesque that it crowds out the women she chose specifically because she knew society already treated them as disposable. She didn't just kill them, she counted on the world not rushing to notice that they were gone. She turned human beings into inventory and then had the absolute audacity to call it a sacrifice. It's just a predatory scam with a body count and a terrible skincare line.
I bet you it was a terrible skincare line, too. I bet you that soap dried your skin out and gave you pimples.
I could see it drying out your skin. I don't know about pimples, because pimples are usually from oil.
It gave you pimples.
Okay. I could say maybe a rash.
Ooh, yeah. I bet you it did. I bet you it was a rashy-ass soap.
And then she had another soap or skincare product that she would give them whenever they would get a rash from the first soap. And then they would do another soap. And that was her whole thing. It was just a big circle of soaps and skincare all made out of people.
Yeah, and rashes. And then she was like, here, have a fucking baked good.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that is the story of Leonarda Cianciulli. I did it! I did the accent. Hey! Make sure you're following Hot Mess Murder Club anywhere you get your podcasts. And go ahead and share the show unless you want Leonarda to visit your dreams with a copper ladle and a recipe. New episodes drop every Monday for your ear holes to enjoy. And remember, if a kindly neighbor offers you a tea cake that's a little too crunchy or tries to help you start a new life but insists on keeping it a secret, run. Run very fast. Fancy packaging does not unmake the body in the pods. Dun, 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 dun. All right, that's it. Stay safe and get the fuck out of my house. Goodbye.
Bye.
Say bye, Kiki.